Hey YouTube, Audio Olympian here, bringing the sound and video to you today, coming to you live from Audio Olympia, where the world meets through music, movies, and speakers. If this is your first time visiting our channel, we want to thank you. We'd love to see you back, so if you consider subscribing and then hitting that bell notification that lets you know when we drop another video to the tube. And if you like the video, if you could give it a thumbs up for us, we'd appreciate that. So today's video is going to be on Atmos or DTS-X, mainly the height speakers and the height sound. Is it worth it? Is it worth it upgrading if you don't have it? Is it worth it keeping it if you do have it? And how much use from movies are we getting out of those height channels and speakers? Now, it's going to be a lot of little details and comparisons that are in here, so I'm going to keep it very brief and short. This video could end up being over an hour long, which I don't want to do. So my system here, by the time this video comes out, I think I'm going to have a full matching. I use the Golden Ear Satellite 50s for my height channels. For one pair I do have right now is the Subsat 3s for my height rears, but I already have a pair of Satellite 50s, Golden Ear Satellite 50s. So by the time this video comes out, I'll probably have already had changed that, but in the video it's going to be the Sub-Satellite 3. So I do understand and know that a different speaker is probably going to give you a little bit different soundscape as well. But again, we're just going for the sound. What effects are we actually getting out of our height channel? So let's get into the video here. So there's my Satellite 50s. And as you can see, I still have a fairly unfinished room here for my theater room. Let's spin around the back. And mostly due to the ceiling not being done. There's my SuperSat 3s up in my top corner. So those are the ones that we're going to highlight here for the theater. This is our power and machine over here. All right, so we'll get into the video now. So we're going to use the Invisible Man for the movie here. Hopefully this is not a spoiler for anybody if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it. But we're going to do chapter 10 right there, the scene where she unveils the invisible bodysuit. It's got some great surround sound effects to it, so I thought that would be a good clip to check out here. So let's check it out. So there you have it. Surprisingly for me a little bit, but it did help me understand Atmos and height a little bit better on this video. So we got to see in the movie there was a lot of more background music in the height channels and not so much surround effects. We did hear it a little bit, which did come across, pretty clean and clear in my room, so it did sound really good. But it makes sense if they're height channels. If the sound doesn't need to be above you at all, no sound is going to come out from those channels there. So even though it's object based, it's still going to be object more directional space. So like at the very end of that clip, we heard the dog bark, which was accurate because it was a little bit, above her ear level as it was on the stairwell. So that's why we heard the dog bark come out of that channel there, on one of the top height channels. But for the most part of it, all your surround and your surround effects are probably going to be still 7.1, 5.1, your base channel. So to answer the question now, is Atmos worth it? Well, I guess it depends on a few different categories or criteria here. One, do you have the room for it? Do you have the height for it? In my room here, I got about 8-foot ceilings in my lower level in my theater room here. So it does give me a good separation to have the height channels active and create a good ambiance where they all contrast together, the sounds contrast together. Two, if it's in your budget as well. Now I am running some pretty good power, so my height channels are all running at 200 watts per channel. So that gives me good power there. Also, the Marantz processor, I'm not using a receiver, I'm using a processor. It's going to give me better processing, better imaging, better sound, better soundscape. That's why I chose to go with a processor. Plus, I use XLR connection there. I don't use just the normal RCA for my setup. Not everybody has enough room and size in their room to have a lot of equipment. So for you, a DVD player receiver might be the best that you can get. So in that scenario, I would have to say you might find that your height channels are not really producing much. It might seem like it. So on a lower level, I would guess have to say on a lower scale of, like, let's say entry or budget level systems, again, depending on your room, it may not be worth it to add all the height channels in there. You might still just be better off with your 5.1 or 7.1. If you do have the space, you do have the budget to add in separates or, or a higher end receiver that's going to push a little bit more power per watts per channel for you, and you have the height, the length of the room, whatever it is. Of course, we all got to work with what we have. That might be a better option and worth it more of putting in those extra dollars to go for your Atmos system. So this video here was more along the lines for people that if you felt, and I see it a lot, I'm not really sure, height channel, Atmos, it's really not that effective, or it doesn't really sound that great, or I don't get much enjoyment from it. There's some other key factors in there. So in it of itself, Atmos, DTSX, Auro 3D, Are they worth it? Yes, for full immersive sound, but it depends on where your platform is and what you're going to have to do to move up to those areas there. It may not be worth it for you depending on what you have there. However, it could be worth a jump up. So it's really going to depend on personal taste for you. So there you have it, you guys. Hope you learned something from this video. Again, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that bell. That lets you know when we got another video coming out. And then just wanted to say a big welcome and huge thanks to all of our new subscribers. Our channel's moving along pretty good. We really want to thank everybody. We appreciate all the support. So we'll see you on the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.